Asking for what?
You know your stuff by heart. Yeah. I know that you know to make them out. Oh, ain't that something? It's horrible. You got the top of the back. Oh.
I got texted like 11 o'clock at night.
That's your favorite.
And I called him. I had to be in Dallas on Wednesday to meet a guy, and I left like at 7:30, so I'd gone to bed early. I typically don't go to bed that early. And I called him. I said, well, you know, Gary said, well, I'll help. And I said, well, you know, Gary ain't going to be up till noon. So I had it done by the time Gary got up.
Before he got up.
Yeah, I had it all taken care of. Yeah, I'd already eaten lunch. Good. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It has
Call me.
discussion about you.
Yeah.
But the way they
You don't have my number?
you would literally have to do that.
Yeah, just call me on my cell phone.
Renovation. Oh yeah. So, still talking about it.
Yes. There is a
Media appraisal to see kind of where you're at on it.
there is a Galilee City deal.
Honey, we ready? The City of Shreveport City Council meeting is now called to order. I've asked that everybody silence their phone to place it on vibrate. I haven't called on this person in a while, so before he walks out, I will ask Chief Reese to lead us in the prayer, and I will ask Vice Chair Green to lead us in the pledge.
Who's praying? Who's praying?
Bow your heads, please. Father God, we come to you as humble as we know how. Father God, thank you for this day. Thank you for the business of the city. Father God, we thank you for all of the leaders. We thank you for all of the citizens and the visitors that take business personally and they want to do business in the city of Shreveport. Father God, as we go through this meeting, we ask that decisions that are made are not made personally, but in the best interest of all citizens of the city of Shreveport. We thank you. We give you all the honor and the glory. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
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 Would you place your hand over your heart and recite the pledge, please? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Taylor.
Present.
Councilman Brooks.
Here.
Councilman Talaferro.
Here, ma'am.
Councilman Butcher.
Here.
Councilman Jackson.
I'm here.
Councilman Green.
I'm here.
And Councilwoman Bowman.
Present.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the Administrative Conference City Council combined meeting Friday, November 8, 2024?
So moved.
Been moved by Councilman Talaferro,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Bowman. Any questions? Let's vote.
It passed with 7.
Does any council member have any awards, recognition, or distinguished guests not to exceed 15 minutes?
I do.
Vice Chair Green, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to commend Councilwoman Taylor and Councilwoman Bowman for taking, as I would say, the bull by the horn and getting our message to the House and to the state and to the governor about the tax credit here in our city. And I'd just like to say thank you all, and you all did a great job, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. Vice
Thank you,
Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
The House and Senate voted to pass the film and tax credits with the amendments, along with the R&D credits as well. They voted on that today, so that's a win for Shreveport and the state of Louisiana. Now wait for the governor to sign it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any other awards, recognitions, distinguished guests? Not to
Have
see
a
15 minutes.
communication. Couple things. First thing about the turkey fry guys, we thank the police chief, but also I'd like to thank the fire chief. There were a few issues that went on, and they got that taken care of very quickly. So Chief Reese, thank you, and thanks to Fire Prevention for getting on that. Second thing, Mr. Chairman, the Charter Review Committee, I think that we're supposed to have appointments by you of 3 members. And we, according to the city attorney, we have a real limited window on that to meet, I think, by the end of the year. So if we could get those appointments quickly, we've got a lot of work to do, and I'd like for us to get on that as soon as possible. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any other council members? Mr. Mayor, do you have any awards, recognition, or distinguished guests not to exceed 15 minutes?
I would like to bring up Chief Smith for his monthly report.
Good afternoon again to everyone, and Dr. Jackson, I promise I will not be in excess of 3 minutes.
Chief, if it's good news, you can take 16 minutes. If it's bad news, I need you to hurry it on along.
Okay. Well, it's always a pleasure to give you my bi-monthly report. And the first slide that we have on the board I want to show you is our homicide rate. As of today, this week, we have 46 homicides that have occurred here in Shreveport. Last year, for the same time period, we had 77. So at this point, we're experiencing 31 less than we did last year, for a reduction of 40.25% in our homicides. Next slide that you see is our shots fired. This is one that has been very, very troubling over the course of time, just random shots fired. This year to date, we have 2,280 that had been reported to us. Last year, for this very time period, we had 2,622 that was reported to us, for a reduction of 342, or 13.04% reduction in shots fired. Next, you'll see is shootings. These were actually where someone got hit by a projectile. This year, 2024, we have 250. Last year, this time, we had 301. There again, crime trending in a positive direction, with a significant reduction in the amount of shootings that has occurred here. Operation New Dawn, we've launched here very recently a cooperative endeavor between us and CADA. What you'll see right here is our unit in Operation New Dawn here in the downtown area, along with some of our partners that are out trying to address homelessness within the downtown area. And they will be moving this operation throughout our city, attempting to connect those in need with the services that they need, which in many cases is not police services being put in jail. And I learned something very unique just a few minutes ago in talking with Lieutenant Bowman. So many of these people who are homeless is waiting, trying to find affordable or some kind of transitional housing. I just had never thought about that. The next slide you'll see is, as you well know, we've relocated our community-oriented policing unit downtown here to our hub just across the street from here. And they've been riding bicycles downtown, been riding horses, they've been walking, just been a lot of activity downtown from them. And during Operation New Dawn, as you can see statistically, they made contact with at least 25 people that fit in that category. They've distributed surveys to at least 20 of the businesses downtown, and they've located at least 9 major encampments in our downtown area of close proximity that they're going to be working to try to get the appropriate help needed to help these people. All right. Next slide you'll see, just recently this week, we had a graduating class 92, where we graduated 9 new police cadets that is now at SPD and in their field training program. And that concludes my presentation.
Councilman Butcher.
This may be a question for Lieutenant Bowman, but that this is very good news. I'm glad to see this going on because it's definitely an indicator of our city trying to help the underprivileged, but also to clean it up. And I think that's a great thing. I would like, when you're making contact with these people, is there any way that we can kind of, I don't know, maybe have an outline of what the city council or what the city could do? Because you mentioned in this about they're waiting on transitional housing. Is there maybe while we're doing this and we're making initial contact with these individuals, is there any way for us to maybe question and then give us some kind of feedback? Because sometimes it may be a real simple fix that we may be able to help y'all, but it just isn't getting communicated to us. And so, I mean, I would like, if you could, I'm not saying a questionnaire or something like that, but kind of put it down, what most of the people you're having contact with, and then let us know, because sometimes it may go to the chief and it may not get to us, but it would be nice for us to see a report of what we can do and what the mayor's office and the city and community development and nonprofits that we're helping to fund may be able to fit in and do something that maybe, I guess what I'm saying is 8 or 9 of us looking at it may just be better than 1 or 2 looking at it. Maybe we can come up with some other solutions. But I'm very glad to see it. When I saw it was kicked off, I was pleased to see that all your work's starting to really take shape, and I look forward to good things happening. So,
Yeah, well, one day when time prevails, I'd love for you to ride out with me during the midday hour in some of the places that provide services to people who are in need. And it is heart-shattering when you see families, little children, whole little families out getting a hot meal. It's really touching. Lets you know how blessed you are and how difficult life can be for some people. Thanks for your help.
again, I commend y'all for doing this because the problem has been getting worse and not better. So, and I don't think, we've talked about this, locking them up is what the solution to the problem is. There's got to be a deeper thing, and what can we do as a city to help our neighbors that aren't quite as
Yes.
lucky or privileged as we are. So
Yes.
thank y'all, and thank you, Lieutenant Bowman, for everything you're doing.
Hold on, Chief. Councilwoman Taylor.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Chief.
Yes, ma'am.
We talk, I see with the reduction of the homicides is occurring. But one that is sticking out to me still will be the 4th of July massacre that
Yes, ma'am.
occurred in the MLK area.
Yes, ma'am.
Where are we on that?
It is still an investigation in progress. There's some good information known in that, and more information is coming in. It's just a matter of being able to put together a case solid enough that the DA's office would be willing to take it and prosecute it. But certainly it is a work in progress.
Have we had any other additional follow-up with the families to update them on where we are in the investigation?
Not that I know of. I will check with the investigators, and if they have not, I'll be happy to have them reach out to them. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair.
Councilman,
Chief, I'd like to echo what Councilman Butcher said. If we could possibly get an update, maybe monthly, on this Operation New Dawn. So when we get a call from business owners, particularly in the downtown area,
Sure.
so I could be able to update them with, the progress that we're making.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
We'll be definitely do that. And we are in the process of trying to order some more inventory of cameras. We have completely run out. We're putting them up as fast as we get them, and we're up to close to 1,700 that's coming into RTC. There's a lot of cameras, so we're gonna get some more up and about around town.
Okay, well, hopefully this program will be effective.
Absolutely.
Anyway, thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
any other questions for Chief? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, did you have any other awards, recognition of singles, guests not to exceed 15 minutes?
I do not.
Did you have any communication relative to city business?
No, sir.
Reports. Does any member have any questions for property standards? Mr. Green?
Oh, yeah.
All right, go sashay. Mr. Clark, do you have a master plan report today?
Yes, sir. I would just like to echo some of the things that have been said about the unhoused and homeless, because we're doing extensive research and working with Hope for the Homeless to try to come up with ideas and finding ways to remove these individuals from the punishment of the weather, because we're about to go into the winter season. And we find out that some of the problems are that some people don't want to be housed, and they refuse to be housed. And we're just trying to find out, what do you come up with in those type of situations? And we've always been very supportive of affordable housing, and there's been a lot of pushback with affordable housing, but Shreveport is in desperate need of affordable housing, not just for the extremely poor, but affordable housing also includes housing for policemen, firemen, teachers, et cetera. It's just based on income, but it's not always based on low income. And I just wanted to share that with you. And the master plan process is going as well as can be expected. It's not going as well as we had hoped for. We have the last general workshop, December 14th, in Riverview Hall, from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. And we ask you, if you would so kindly share the word with your constituency, that this is the opportunity to come and learn what's happening in the city of Shreveport, learn what was planned for the city of Shreveport, and make recommendations or suggestions to other things that can be happening in the city of Shreveport. We also were trying to be business friendly, Councilman Butcher, and we've had meetings with the economic development director, and he signed on with us and our consultants. We'll be meeting with him to find out how we can interface what we're doing with planning with economic development, because we're all concerned about jobs and we want as many job opportunities as possible. So we're moving along slowly, and it's sort of indicative, unfortunate, of our city. We can get big crowds when there's controversy and conflict, but it's very difficult to get people to engage, to do something that's laid back, quiet, and nothing that incites anybody. But we're still trying. Just for your information, Councilwoman Bowman, we started attending neighborhood participation plan meetings this week. We were at a neighborhood participation plan meeting, and I think it's one of the better ones that we've been to. It shows that if citizens come into meetings with open minds, they can get a whole lot more done, and they can receive a whole lot more information, and they can have a whole lot more input. But I wanted you to know that at your suggestion, we started attending these, and we will be attending these meetings in the future. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
You're so welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Public hearing, there are none. Madam Clerk, are there any legislation to be added to the agenda today?
Yes, sir. We have Resolution 187, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a lease agreement between the city of Shreveport and One Texas Center LC, and Resolution 188, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a lease agreement between the city of Shreveport and Willis Knighton Health.
So before we entertain the motion to add these agenda, I'll give Mr. Dart a chance to kind of explain what these are. The vote has to be unanimous to add this to the agenda.
Motion first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we talked about briefly in the Public Safety Committee, we already had 3 items on the agenda for leases regarding.
Mr. Chair, we need the motion first, don't we?
First, you need public comment on whether or not, before you can discuss the merits.
Is there anyone here in favor or against adding these resolutions to the agenda?
John Glover, 9100 Walker Road, apartment 127, Shreveport, 71118. I am in favor of having these added because I'd like to know what they are too. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Seeing none, do I get a motion to get on the floor first before discussion?
So moved.
It's been moved by Councilman Butcher, second by Councilman Brooks. Discussion?
Would you like me to try now?
Yes, sir.
Y'all need to vote, I think.
Discuss before we vote.
We can discuss now and then.
Oh,
vote after
okay.
that.
Yeah.
Well, as y'all are aware, we're trying as quickly as we can to relocate SPD out of the building they're in. So you already have 3 items on the agenda that are part of that. The one with Willis Knighton is a 4th of those. The other is one that we've been working on for some time, trying to move community development out of 401 Texas, and the spot we've selected is the building next door. These are all 2 readers. You'll have the opportunity to look at leases and all those. They're all attached. But what we were trying to do was get them on the agenda today because of the way your schedule works year in. This is the last day to introduce anything that can actually be passed this year if it's a 2-reader. So that's why we ask you to add it at the last minute.
Any questions or concerns for Mr. Dart?
So the community development is the building to the right of it, is that
Yes, sir.
right? I have a few questions about that, but we'll talk about it between now and the time we vote on it. But I'm all for moving them. I just have a couple of
Okay.
logistical questions.
No other questions? Let's vote. Today we will hear public comments on non-agenda items and agenda items. Vice Chair, do we have any requests to speak?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. Mrs. Norma Smith. Ms. Smith, we'd like to say welcome to the City Council. You have 3 minutes. If you state your name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Norma Smith. I live at 3027 John Quill, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71107. And I'm here today to speak to Mayor Arsenault about the property at 2020 Wood Street. I was sent out a letter, certified letter about the property there. But anyway, when I got a letter and I called Wanda Williams about the letter, and she told me not to worry about the property right then, just keep the yard clean, and I did that. And the house was damaged from a tree falling on it, and it was damaged for about 7 months. And the taxes were paid on the house, and the house is now on a lien. They demolished the house, and the house is on a lien for $8,250 where nobody signed for the house to be torn down. And the property is left so bad. When they tore the house down, they left the property so bad that the property cannot be mowed, it can't be maintained for bricks and all this stuff in the yard the way they left the property. And if you go out and try to cut it with your mow, you won't even get a chance to mow it. It'll tear your lawnmower up. And nobody signed for, I didn't get any mail from the standard property that they was gonna tear the property down. I found out by a neighborhood friend that they was tearing the house down. And I've tried to contact you through your office, and nobody would make me an appointment to talk to you. And I even emailed you twice, and you hadn't responded back to my emails yet. So I want to know if we can get a chance to sit down and talk about this and try to see what can we resolve this.
Mr. Chairman, this is your meeting, not mine.
Go ahead, sir. You can have.
Ms. Smith has been calling, Mr. Chair. Ms. Smith has been calling and trying to get a follow-up and trying to get some information from the mayor's office. So that's why she's down here now, because she says that she's not getting a response. So someone from the administration needs to respond to her as it relates to what she has going on with her property. There's nothing that I can do to assist her. So she's here now. She took the time out to come down here. Somebody needs to respond to her.
Mr. Chairman, she's talked to my staff on numerous occasions. And I have a big, thick file that I'm trying to go through so that I can respond to her questions. I will respond to her in writing.
Okay, I didn't hear that. You'll respond when?
He'll respond to you in writing.
In writing?
Yes.
Okay, because your staff said that you said that you wouldn't talk to me on this issue. And like I said, and you hadn't responded back to me. But do you have any idea how long it'll be before you get to me?
As I said, it's quite a complicated issue. It's much more simple. It's not as simple as it sounds up here, and I will respond to her when I have the opportunity to go through a fairly thick file of the information on her house.
Okay. We will just allow the mayor to respond to you through his staff, but we'll stay in touch with you as well to make sure you do get a response.
Okay, then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, that concludes voting.
Thank you, Vice Chair. We have no executive appointments to consider today. There are no items on the consent agenda or introduction or to be adopted. Madam Clerk, would you please proceed with regular agenda legislation?
Resolution 176, authorizing the mayor to execute a grant agreement between the City of Shreveport and the U.S. Department of Transportation.
So moved.
Been moved by Councilman Butcher, second by the chair. Discussion? Let's vote.
That passed with 7.
Resolution 177, authorizing the mayor to execute a temporary construction servitude with the Department of Transportation and Development of the State of Louisiana.
So moved.
Been moved by Councilman Butcher, second by Councilman Brooks. Any discussion? Let's vote.
That passed with 7.
Councilwoman, thank you. Resolution 179, repealing resolution number 178 of 2024, approving an annual payment in lieu of tax in accordance with an updated term sheet agreement between the Northwest Louisiana Finance Authority and the Negatives Thomas Apartment Preservation, LLC.
Been moved by Councilwoman Bowman, second by Councilman Brooks. Any discussion? Let's vote.
That passed with 7.
Resolution 180, approving the 2025 Downtown Development Authority Program of Work.
Do I move or I have a question?
We gotta get it on the floor first.
Okay, so moved.
Been moved by Councilman Brooks,
Second.
second by Councilman Butcher. Discussion, Councilman Brooks.
Janie, is this the one that you wanted postponed? No? Okay. So moved.
Click it on your screen. Any other comments or questions before we vote? Let's vote.
That passed with 7.
Resolution 181, amending portions of Section 2 of the Shreveport, Louisiana City Council Rules of Procedure.
Motion to postpone.
Second.
Been motioned by the chair, second by Councilman Talaferro. Discussion. So I wanted to go ahead and get this on the agenda, but give everybody time to kind of review it. This simply is just to bring clarity to what the chair is able to do, what the clerk of council is able to do. So I want to thank the city attorney. I want to thank Ms. Manuska before she left for putting a lot of thought and work into this. But we wanted to go ahead and just get it postponed, or get it on the agenda, but get it postponed so you have time to review it, and then we can vote on it later date. Any other concerns?
I'm going to be voting no, not to put it on the agenda, just because I think this needs to go to a committee to discuss, not just one council person. I think it needs to be a committee so we can get our thoughts on it.
You voting no to postpone it?
Yes.
Any other comments or concerns? Let's vote.
Motion fails to postpone.
So we vote on it as written, correct? Okay. Do we get a motion to vote on it?
If you want to adopt.
You've got a lot of options right now. You can, the author can withdraw it, or you can move forward with the vote as written.
I would like to hear recommendations from council because this affects everybody as to how we want to move forward with this. And again, the goal was to bring clarity on duties. Councilwoman Bowman, you mentioned about a subcommittee. So I just need more clarity as how we want to move forward, or are we just saying that we feel like the rules are clear and we don't need any extra information?
Mr. Chair?
Councilman Talaferro.
Well, as they say, a confused person always votes no. So in light of, our discussion, it seems like there's a lot of dead air regarding, surrounding this specifically piece of legislation. I would tend to agree. I'm all about taking it to a grassroots level and then bringing it up to the full board. So I would be inclined to agree with Councilwoman that there's no harm in sending it to a committee, having a committee take a look at it and make any kind of revisions and/or suggestions to the rest of the body of the council.
With that being said, does anybody have an objection with the Audit and Finance Committee chairing this piece of legislation?
I don't, Mr. Chairman, I don't know if that's the proper venue for that. My issue with it is I was not contacted personally about it at all. And I think that these rules impact the 7 of us more than anybody. And I think there needs to be an open dialogue. However you choose to do that in the next month is up to you, I think. But I think the best thing to do is for you to pull the legislation and let's, it looks like you've done some groundwork on it. But I think the best thing to do, instead of us voting it down, let's pull the legislation and let's all 7 of us have a conversation about it. And that can be in a special open meeting. That can be in, I agree with you on the premise of that there are some things that need to be done, because I'm sure that the citizens don't know. If you're out of town, the mayor's out of town, we have no mayor. And that's happened several times in the last several months. So we've got to come up with some new rules that aren't in there. But we also have a charter review committee that needs to be appointed, that a lot of this could be discussed in the charter review committee. But I don't like that this was all done without us having any say in it, because it impacts all of us. So, I think the best thing to do is maybe pull the legislation and let's either discuss it in a separate committee that you form, which you have the right to do, or that it's done in the charter review committee. I think that's the proper venue to do it in. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, concerns? I will motion to withdraw this piece of legislation. And again, for clarification, the goal was to get it on the agenda so everybody will have a chance to review, digest it, and then make any suggestions, amendments as they see fit. My goal was just to bring clarity to the rules, because there was a lot of gray areas, so that was the purpose. But I will yield to the council and pull it and assign it to a subcommittee. So I motion to withdraw this piece of legislation, 181.
You don't need a second for that, do you?
No, because I'm
yes.
the author. Madam Clerk, you may continue.
Resolution 182, amending portions of Section 6 of the Shreveport, Louisiana City Council Rules of Procedure.
Motion to withdraw. Madam Clerk, would you please proceed with introduction of resolutions not to be adopted prior to December 10, 2024?
Resolution 183, authorizing the mayor to execute a cooperative purchasing agreement with the city of Shreveport and the city of Ruston.
I'm sorry, both of those motions did need a second.
Even though I'm the author. So motion to withdraw.
Please specify.
Motion to withdraw.
185.
181.
181.
I'm sorry, you just made a motion to withdraw 181. The author has made a motion to withdraw Resolution 181, is there a second?
It's been moved by the chair, second by Councilman Brooks.
No vote is no vote is necessary. Are you gonna, and then the other one?
Motion to withdraw 182. Been motioned by the chair, second by Councilman Brooks. Madam Clerk, would you please receive introduction of resolution not to be adopted prior to December 10, 2024?
Resolution 183, authorizing the mayor to execute a cooperative purchasing agreement between the city of Shreveport and the city of Ruston. Resolution 184, authorizing the mayor to execute a lease agreement between the city of Shreveport and Biomedical Research Foundation. Resolution 185, authorizing the mayor to execute a lease agreement between the city of Shreveport and Caddo Parish School Board. Resolution 186, authorizing the mayor to execute a lease agreement between the city of Shreveport and South Point Properties. Resolution 187, authorizing the mayor to execute a lease agreement between the city of Shreveport and One Texas Center LLC. And Resolution 188, authorizing the mayor to execute a lease agreement between the city of Shreveport and Willis Knight Hill.
So moved for introduction.
Question.
It has been moved by Councilman Butcher. Is there a second? Second. Been seconded by Councilman Brooks. Question, Councilwoman Taylor.
Mr. Dark, the lease with Willis Knight, I heard you say in the public safety meeting at that meeting, that lease is a year?
The lease is a year with an additional year of option depending on how long it takes to do something else.
Okay.
Councilman Brooks.
The second year, the option, is that month to month, or are we obligated for another full year?
The discussion, we still, as again, we told you, we got this here in a hurry. We're going to talk to them about the next 2 weeks about cleaning up that particular piece of language. Right now, it says a year. Our intention was never for it to be either 1 year or 2 years with nothing in the middle. The real intent, several of these others, we have essentially month to month after the first initial term. I think by the time we pass this, that's what you'll have here as well.
Okay. And the initial terms, I think you said in the public safety committee, are roughly 12 to 15 months.
But, you know, they differed depending on when we thought we'd get in, but I think the initial, they're either 12 months or 15 for the ones that are substations.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Butcher.
And just for the record, at the 3312 North Market, they are asking, and it is actively listed right now for $675,000. So just where we know that was what their asking price was, as of today, it was $675,000. So I wanted that to be on the record. If something ends up happening with the North Shreveport that we're negotiating on right now, this is a very good option to replace that, and it's already built. Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns? These resolutions have been introduced. Madam Clerk, would you please proceed with introduction of ordinance not to be adopted prior to December 10, 2024?
Ordinance 152, amending the 2024 budget for general fund. Ordinance 153, amending the 2024 budget for public safety special revenue fund. Ordinance 154, to revise Chapter 74, Solid Waste Article 3, Regulations, Section 74-54 of the City of Shreveport, Louisiana Code of Ordinances relative to disposal fee per ton of normal waste. Ordinance 155, zoning case 24-95C, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by rezoning property located southeast corner of Lyon Avenue and Jordan Street from C-UC Urban Corridor Commercial Zoning District to IC Institutional Campus Zoning District. Ordinance 156, zoning case 24-140-C, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by rezoning property located southwest corner of Greenwood and Forge Road from I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District to I-1 Light Industrial Zoning District.
Is there a motion to introduce these ordinances? Been moved by Councilman Brooks, second by Councilman Bowman. These ordinances have been introduced. Councilman Brooks, go ahead.
Mr. Clark, on zoning case 124-95, I picked up the information from your office. Under the stipulations that the property owners agreed to
Yes, sir.
satisfy the neighborhood association,
Yes, sir.
it's worded, the number of beds will be limited, but they agreed to no more than 70 beds. Is there any way before we vote that we can get that put in writing?
We will, you're not gonna vote on it today, right?
No, sir.
Okay, yes, sir, we'll take care of it.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Mr. Clark, I have a question also. On zoning case 24-14-C, are we going to have another neighborhood participation before?
Which one is that,
It's the one, Greenwood Road and Forge Road.
do we need another, NPP?
I think we will because I think some amendments have been done, and I would like to see how the residents feel now. 'Cause
And
they
we'll
did-
reach out to the applicant and ask him. As I shared with y'all the last time, these are their meetings and they pay for these meetings. We don't. So we have to ask them
Okay.
to conduct another meeting.
Okay, can you put that request in? Because since they did make the changes, I want to make sure the neighborhoods are good with this. They did change the street, which was one of the, maybe solutions. So if we could you request a meeting for that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Clerk, would you please proceed with ordinance on second reading and final passage?
Did y'all motion in second?
We did.
Ordinance 40, an ordinance authorizing the lease of portions of Stage Works of Louisiana, a city-owned property, to G Unit Film and Television Louisiana LLC.
Is that one ready?
Motion to postpone.
Been motioned by Councilman Butcher to postpone, second by Councilman Brooks.
How much longer?
Yeah,
Discussion.
Mr. Edwards, how long do we need to postpone this to, where we don't have to do this every time?
I don't know the answer to that question.
So you still don't want us to table it?
That's correct. It would be my request that you do not table it.
Would it be safe to do it till, well, we'll just do it.
I-
We'll just do it. We'll just do it case by case, I guess.
I would
December
I would ask that you
19th.
move it to December 19th.
Okay, motion to postpone until December the 19th.
It has been motioned to postpone by Councilman Butcher, second by Councilman Talaferro. No more discussion, let's vote.
That passed with 7.
Ordinance 114, to amend various articles and sections in the City of Shreveport, Louisiana Unified Development Code for the purpose of adding new definition related to sober living home.
Is there a motion? I'm a motion to postpone. Is there a second? I'll second that. Motion to postpone by the chair, second by Councilman Brooks. Discussion, Mr. Clark, can you come, please?
Yes, sir.
We've been kind of postponing this one for a while. Can you recap for everyone what this piece of legislation is going to do?
And I thank you for bringing me up because Basically, this legislation is just clearing up definitions to deal with these type facilities, Oxford House. We have always followed the same process with Oxford houses, and we will continue to follow the same process. If you continue to delay actions on it, it just defines what a sober living facility is, defines what reasonable accommodations are, it defines what handicap is, and it defines what a family is. And these things protect Oxford houses from requiring for a certificate of occupancy meeting zoning requirements because they're just single-family dwellings with a family by the definition of family in them. We would truly appreciate it if you all would consider taking actions on these. There's another facility being planned, I think, in Broadmoor, and the people have started coming and questioning what is actually going there and how to prevent it. And we've shared with them, but we don't have that definition of sober living in the ordinance, so we don't have a whole lot to say to them other than the fact that the house will be going in there, and there's nothing we can do to prevent it from going.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Butcher.
I would kind of like to know, I know that Broadmoor, Highland, are really where most of, I don't want to call them halfway houses for lack of better words, but that's basically what it is. I would kind of like to know where most of these are, and maybe you get with the council members that represent that district, maybe more on a one-on-one basis, because it doesn't really impact my district a lot right now. It will down the road, but it doesn't. And I'm not prepared to vote on something that they're gonna have to take a lot of questions and things on. So once they feel comfortable with it, and I think mainly it's Councilman Brooks and Councilman Talaferro, then I'll be willing to support it. But I agree with you. We need some type of direction to go with it. I had a very good friend of mine that was in one of the sober living houses in Broadmoor, and it did him really, really good. And once he left the sober living home, he ended up dying eventually. So I know there's some benefit to him, but I don't want those two guys to be getting a lot of calls from their constituents. So maybe a meeting with y'all might be a good idea.
I agree with you. If excuse me, if you just share with us what we are holding up for, we will be more than happy to provide additional information. We work with the city attorney. We know that the things that we're doing meet legal muster. We just don't know nothing else to do without some directions from you all.
So, Mr. Clark, this is the legislation that MPC is supporting.
Yes, sir.
And my question for city attorney, are we required to have a definition for sober living as a
We're required to make reasonable accommodations for people who are disabled. Thus far, this process has been on a case-by-case basis to define what those reasonable accommodations are in each individual circumstance. This is an attempt to standardize a very specific reasonable accommodation for a very specific problem, which is by allowing a number of individuals who are not related by blood, who are disabled, to live in a single-family home, in a home that is zoned as a single-family home. It basically standardizes what is otherwise a case-by-case process, a case-by-case analysis on whether or not there's a reason to allow a group of individuals who are not otherwise related by blood to live together in a single-family home.
But if this is not passed, we still have a case-by-case scenario where we're still protected legally.
That's exactly correct. And if this does not pass, it goes back to being a case-by-case situation where each time someone has to apply to for for lack of a better word, a variance. It's an accommodation that is going to be at variance from the rule on single family dwellings.
And like I've shared with you, we'll be approving them each time they come in, meeting these requirements that Oxford House, and it's just one Oxford House, and they have done all the research, so they know exactly what they're doing, and we cannot deny them the opportunity because it is a single-family home with a single family by definition in it. So
Mr.
even
Clark.
though we wait, we're still gonna have to approve, leave anybody alone that's in sober living because it's just a family. It's not a institution, it's not a facility for treatment or anything else. It's just 4 to 6 people living in a home.
So this, excuse me, Mr. Chair. So this is really just kind of a fast track instead of bogging the process down any more than it already is. So what you're doing is by the definition change, you're just saying we don't have to go through jump through the hoops to actually all come back to the definition change, correct? Or what they're going to be tailored for.
Yes, sir, and it gives us better information to reply to citizens because regardless of what we do, and I think we all know that, regardless of what we do when one of these homes is occupied by Oxford House, you're going to get calls, we're going to get calls, but if we have an ordinance in place that specifically address what's happening, we could at least share with citizens that there's an ordinance that deals with these individuals from Oxford House.
And just for clarification, the Oxford House, they're the ones responsible for vetting the occupants or the situation which these occupants need housing?
If you call it vetting, I don't know exactly what they do.
Well, there's a process by which they come to us and say, this family needs this house. My question would be, and we could talk offline because, along with Councilman Brooks, is that I'm not clear if Oxford House has carte blanche for putting these houses in specific neighborhoods.
They do.
And I think we'll agree that my neighborhoods, or District C, Gary's, have a lot. I'd say a lot. And I think it would be nice for each council member to have, a list of who's where. But I'd like to see it, if we're going to do something, obviously I'd like to see it, spread out over the city. And, I'm not sure exactly how Oxford House fits into all that. But I'd be interested, and we don't have to do it now.
Yes, sir, I understand, and that's why I continue to say that unlike other uses, we cannot require Oxford houses to jump through any hoops. They don't have to meet any spacing requirements. They don't have to get a certificate of occupancy. They don't have to do anything. And like the city attorney shared with you, this ordinance puts everything in place. It talks about reasonable accommodations. It defines what handicapped individuals are. That includes recovering alcoholics, recovering drug addicts. It defines what sober living is. So sober living facilities are apart and separate from other social service type agencies. And when citizens get alarmed, as they will and as they continue to do, at least we have an ordinance to present to them, to show them exactly what's happening, why this is being allowed. Because I sat down and talked with an individual yesterday, and once we showed him why this is being allowed, why there's nothing that the residents can do about this, he was satisfied. But technically, we just don't have anything right now, and that's why we're pleading with you all, because we take all the licks and the punches when residents are upset about these type facilities coming into their neighborhoods.
And Mr. Clark and Mr. Edwards, I think that's the little confusing part. This legislation appears to give permission to create what's already been going on. Without this legislation, you're still approving everybody on a case-by-case basis. You're not denying anyone.
We are approving Oxford houses. I think that's what's get left out of the translation. Oxford houses are special houses that have gone through the entire process, have sued many cities, have gone to the Supreme Court, have been upheld by the Supreme Court. So we cannot, if y'all never approve this, we cannot deny them the opportunity to move into one of these houses. We've been told that over and over by the city attorney.
Okay, and so I just have one final question. So at what point does a city council member be involved in that process where a house is selected in my district? Does a city council person, based on what's already going on in our district with some of these houses, do we have an opportunity to actually be part of that?
They don't even have to inform us that they're moving in because, like I shared with you.
So this is more on the federal level?
Yeah, this is federal fair housing, and
okay.
It's protected, and we should not, and I don't think you all want us to, violate any of the federal fair housing laws that are quite active and severe in punishment.
No, I think for me, I would just like to know. I don't have to be micromanaging anything. I would just like to know there's another one coming to my neighborhood.
And if we know, we would be more than happy to share that with you. What I was sharing with you, it's not like a business when they come to the city.
Okay.
They come to the permit center and apply for a certificate of occupancy. They don't come and apply for anything. Many times, only way we know that they're there would be citizens calling us and asking us how they're being allowed to be there.
And really, that's our point. My point is that I would like to know, just be part of the discussion or be part of the notification. Let me put it that way. You may not be able to do anything about it.
No, but in all due respect,
we get the questions.
I just wanted to share with you.
Okay.
Many times we don't know, and there's nothing that requires them to tell us. The only way we find out is when the citizens get in an uproar and start calling us, and then we go through the investigative process and find out that this is a sober living facility and it meets all the requirements. So we have to let them not bother with them anymore.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Clark? Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Thank you.
The motion on the table is to postpone. If there's no other discussion, let's vote.
Pass with 7.
Ordinance 115, zoning case 24-91-C, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by rezoning property located east side of Lotus Lane, approximately 230 feet north of Standard Oil Road, from RMHP Residential Manufactured Home Park Zoning District to RMHP Spud Residential Manufactured Home Park Small Plant Unit Development Zoning District.
Motion postpone.
Been motion by Vice Chair to postpone, second by Councilman Butcher. Any discussion? Let's vote.
That passes with 7.
Ordinance 151, amending the 2024 budget for general fund, and there is one amendment. This amendment brings the transferred amounts in line with the county's most recent 2024 figures. The ordinance is simply an effort to recognize the 2024 ARP appropriations as having passed through the general fund. It does not involve any new spending.
So move as amended.
So move on the amendment.
On the amended, excuse me. It's been moved by the chair, second by Councilman Talaferro. Any discussion? Let's vote.
It passed with 7.
Now as amended.
So moved as amended. Moved by the chair, second by Councilman Butcher. Any discussion? Let's vote.
It passed with 7.
We need a motion to remove the 2025 budget ordinance from the table
So
to be
moved.
placed on December 10th agenda.
So moved.
It's
Mr.
been
Chair.
moved by Vice Chair Green, second by Councilman Brooks. Any discussion? Let's vote.
It passed with 7. It's against the law.
Appeals, we have no property standards, NPC, ZBA, or ABO appeals to consider today. Are there any other appeals, Madam Clerk?
No, sir.
Are there any reports from officers, boards, or committees? Madam Clerk, is there a clerk's report?
The following letter of appointment was received from the mayor's office on November 18th, 2024, and is subject for confirmation on December 10th, 2024. Oh, let me open it up. I know it's LaShantra Hawkins. I forgot what it was.
On the appointments? Yeah. Go ahead. Councilman Brooks?
Mr. Dark or Mr. Mayor, I glanced over this. What's this position for?
This is for the revenue administrator position.
Revenue administrator?
Revenue administrator, the person who runs the revenue division of finance.
And who was the lady that was here earlier? Sheila?
That's Sheila Fowler, who's the director. Sheila is the one who interviewed Ms. Hawkins and some other folks and recommends that
Okay,
Ms. Hawkins
so
be
this,
hired.
Ms. Hawkins would be working in
Yes.
Ms. Fowler's department?
We had when we came in, the lady who had been doing, they brought somebody out of retirement to do it part-time. Well, she's moved on, and so we now are looking for a full-time person, and Ms. Fowler found Ms. Hawkins.
And her salary's $90,000?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Councilman Butcher?
My question was answered.
Any other questions, comments? Mayor Arsenault, do you have any additional communications?
No, sir.
Does any council member have any additional communications? Executive session, there are none. If there's nothing else, this meeting is adjourned.
Happy Thanksgiving.